Hello, welcome to my drumming. This is part 20 and today we're going to be looking at a song called Many of Horror by Biffy Clyro. We're going to get straight into it now because there's loads to go through. We'll first of all start looking at patterns 1, 2 and 3 at the same time. So they're all much of the same thing and there's two lots of 8 counts in them. So we'll go for pattern 1 first. Pattern 1 starts off with a cymbal before anything else, and then the bass drum is quite complicated on this pattern because it comes in on the second beat, on the 4.5, then on the 5, then in the second lot of 8 it comes in on the 1, the 2, the 5, the 6 and then the 8 as well. So I'll play pattern 1 through and you can hear how that goes. Now that's pattern 1. Pattern 2 is identical but there's no cymbal beat at the beginning. And pattern 3 is identical, but there's no cymbal beat at the beginning and there's a cymbal beat at the end. So I'll play patterns 1, 2 and 3 all the way through so you can hear how they go. So that was 1, 2 and 3 straight after each other. Now pattern 4 is played in the first chorus, but it's only played in the first chorus and that's it. It's played with floor tom, bass drum, snare and high tom. Now in the 2 sets of 8, the first 8 it's floor tom and bass drum all at the same time with snare drum on 3 and 7. That's repeated, but in the second lot of 8, the high tom comes in on beat 5.5 and also on beat 8.5. That then repeats into pattern 5, exactly the same thing is done again, but then there's a snare drum at the end and a cymbal. So I'll play pattern 4 and then go straight into pattern 5 so you can hear how they go together. Now pattern 6 is very similar to patterns 1, 2 and 3, but there's just extra bass drums added. So bass drums now come in the first lot of 8 on beats 2, 4.5, 5, but now in the second lot of 8 they're coming in just on the and before the 1, on the 1 and the 2, on the 4.5, on the 5, on the 6.5 and also the 8. Now to make that clearer, have a look at the music now so you can see everything and have a look at pattern 6 to show how it is. So now that you've had a chance to have a look at the music, here's pattern 6 which I'll play through now. So quite a lot of bass drum work going on in that. Now pattern 7 I'm just going to play through, because if I try and play all of the parts and explain where all the bass drum bits are, it's just going to be too complicated because of the counting. So have a look back at the music and you can see there's a double beat on the snare drum, there's a hi-hat coming in. So here's pattern 7 and see if you can follow along with the music. Pattern 8 is identical to patterns 1, 2 and 3, but there's just a double snare drum at the end, so I don't think we need to cover pattern 8. Pattern 9, 10 and 11 are all virtually the same thing, but it's a slower count this time, so rather than a fast hi-hat, pattern 9 is 4 beats, bass drum on the 1, cymbal on the 1, bass drum on the 2 and then on the 4 and as well. So I'll play through pattern 9, 10 and 11 in 3 goes now, so you can see how they go, because they're just 4 bars after each other. So have a look at the music and have a look at how these go as well. So that was 9, 10, 11 through. Pattern 12 is quite a complicated one, and this is very similar to pattern 7 in as much as if I try and explain the way how it goes, there'll be too many counts and too many numbers all over the place. So I'll just play pattern 12 through now and see if you can follow along when you look at the music at the same time. Now pattern 12 was quite complicated because there was a couple of quavers at the end, so a 1 and 1 and. Now I did the double beat with my right hand on the second one so I could get back to the snare drum in time for the final bit. There was also cymbal crashes in between the ride cymbals being played. So have a look at that, have a listen, look at the music, see if you can get through playing that, because that one's quite complex. Now patterns 13, 14 and 15 are similar to 9, 10 and 11. In fact they're practically identical, it's just different bass drum beats in different places. So I'll play through 13, 14 and 15 now for you. Now pattern 16 is another one that just has to go through and look at the music whilst I'm playing it. There's ride cymbal in it and then it goes back into the hi-hat. So I'll run through that now. Again, have a look at the music, see if you can follow this through. Pattern 17 is very similar to the ones we were playing earlier in patterns 13, 14 and 15. It's just a simple 4 beat with the snare drum coming in on 3 and the 4 and the bass drum coming in on 1 and the 2 and. So pattern 17 goes like this. Pattern 18 is right at the end of the song and it's just a mixture between snare, bass, toms. Okay, I'll play it through slowly. It goes. So, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Now I've gone through that all fairly quickly. Hopefully you managed to learn something from looking at what I've run through, because I haven't done the normal, this is where the count is on every single bass drum and every single snare drum, because a lot of them are quite complex, especially the patterns that I was playing on the ride with the cymbals. So any questions on any of it, please shout. Other than that, I'll now play the song through in its full entirety. So this is Many of Horror by Biffy Clyro. Right, so that was it, all the way through. I'm pretty sure that that was fairly spot on, fairly alright. I think the hi-hat didn't work on a couple of occasions, just in the middle towards the beginning, but other than that I think it was pretty much there. Hopefully that was useful, hopefully you learned something from it and can play along. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part. See you later, bye.